morning. I am Sarah Johnson. I wanted to welcome everyone to our virtual seminar. I'm the past president of Western Region Economic Development Board of Directors. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are getting everything set up and ready for Wayde's sick. For anyone who may be newly introduced to Western Region Economic Development, a quick rundown of who we are and what we focus on would simply be put as we are a group of area leaders in different industries that are committed to building a prosperous and vibrant region where businesses can thrive. We represent Montreal, McKenzie, Divide, and Williams County in Western North Dakota. And our goals include focusing on future recruitment and development in our areas, advocating for regional business-friendly environments, and more, all for the positive growth of Western North Dakota. One of the important offerings we have for our members and our communities are these virtual seminars. Today's speaker is an exciting one, especially with the start of a new school year and some new CTE opportunities in two of our larger school districts right here in Western North Dakota. We have Wayde sick. He is the state director and executive officer for the North Dakota Department of Career and Technical Education. Wayde sick has been involved in education and workforce development for over 20 years. His first role with the state of North Dakota was with the Workforce Division for the North Dakota Department of Commerce, starting in that capacity in October 2012. In May of 2018, he was named the state director of the Department of Career and Technical Education. Prior to serving with the state, Wayde was employed with the Burdock Job Corps Center in Minot from 2003 to 2011, where he served as an academic instructor, CTE manager, and the deputy center director. Wayde has a bachelor's degree in social science education and a master's degree in management, both from Minot State University. Today, Wayde will be discussing the CTE in North Dakota, along with possibilities that businesses may be able to partner and get involved with them. So, Wayde, welcome. We are so excited, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Western Region Economic Development, for inviting me to this conversation and giving me the opportunity to talk about what's going on with career and technical education. It's like mentioned, very exciting things going on. New school year and a lot of new facilities opening this fall and more to come. So really exciting time for North Dakota and career and technical education and the students of North Dakota, and also the employers and the workforce needs. So like mentioned, my name is Wayde sick. I'm the state director for the Department of Career and Technical Education. And today I'm going to visit about, as mentioned, career and technical education, but I think I'm going to really hit three key points when it comes to career tech ed. First of all, really, what is it? Secondly, what is the scope of career and technical education in the state right now? And then really the point of this conversation is how can education and business and industry partner? Because that's really the key. That's what we need to do is have education and workforce and economic development and employers speak in the same language so that they can understand what's going on and get our students connected with the opportunities that we have in the state of North Dakota. So what is career and technical education? These are the high-level definitions of career tech ed at the national level. So CTE programs blend academic knowledge with real-world skills. Career and technical education prepares students for a wide range of high-demand careers. Career and technical education provides hands-on learning, work-based learning experiences, and industry-recognized certifications. Those are key parts to what career and technical education is. But I also need to make sure that I express what isn't career and technical education. CTE is not a dumping ground. CTE is not where students that are not bound for post-secondary education are supposed to be placed. It is not for troublemakers. It is not for low achievers. It's for all students. Every occupation, every career available can originate in a career tech ed program, whether that's auto technician, carpenter, nurse, heavy equipment operator, software engineer, public safety, doctors, lawyers, you name it. Students can take courses in high school to get them on a career path wherever they want to go. So what's going on in North Dakota? These are the 8 primary, I guess, CTE families that are available in North Dakota right now. Agriculture education, one of our biggest programs, pretty self-explanatory of what ag education is, or agricultural education is, but it is obviously diversified. If you've taken ag education when you were in high school yourself, there was probably a lot of livestock, raising livestock. There was probably grains and things like that, but it's expanded tremendously, especially with precision ag and things like that. Business education is finance, entrepreneurship, things like that. Information technology is hardware, software, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. Family and consumer science includes restaurant management, tourism, education pathways, early childhood education. Marketing is obviously what marketing education is. Technology and engineering is where we see our engineering programs and our STEM fields. Health sciences, again, pretty self-explanatory, but a lot broader than what people may think. When you think health sciences, I think a lot of times you think people pursuing becoming a nurse, but it is everywhere from CNA to phlebotomist to nursing up to doctors, chiropractic services, dental services. We're trying to get students to understand all those different kinds of opportunities. And then trade and industry. Trade and industry is that catch-all of everything else. Building trades, welding, auto technology, aviation, CDL, you name it. Those are the types of things that are in trade and industry, and they are occurring across the state in our high schools and in our CTE centers. A very huge part of CTE are our career and technical student organizations. And on the screen, you see the 7 that we have in North Dakota. DECA is tied to our marketing programs. FBLA is tied to our business programs. FCCLA is tied to our family consumer science programs. FFA is tied to our agricultural education program. Skills USA is tied to our trade and industry. TSA is tied to tech and engineering. And HOSA is tied to our health career programs. And there are healthcare programs that also participate in Skills USA. Our student organizations, not only they're co-curricular. What you're learning in those classrooms and those labs and those shops, you are taking it to a competitive level. Many of you may have been a member of one of these organizations when you were in school. They play an integral part, not only solidifying what they're learning in those labs and those classrooms, but they're also learning leadership skills, employability skills. You want these individuals on your payroll. The kids that are on the screen standing there with me, those were the 23, 24 state presidents for those different organizations. And I tell you, visiting with these young people, it's humbling. They are smart, they're motivated, they are leaders. And I just want to point out Cadence. So Cadence is the young lady that is in the middle front row. She was the president for North Dakota FBLA in 23-24. She was a senior at Drake Animos. And the reason why I'm bringing up Cadence is because not only was she the president for the state of North Dakota, she was also the vice president of the national FBLA student leadership team. So we have students in North Dakota periodically that they sit on at the national level. They travel to multiple states and they help other states improve their programs. Cadence wasn't the first one, and she will not be the last national officer that we have. She's a special kid. So the scope of career and technical education in North Dakota. So this is 22-23 data, because that's the most recent we have that has been compiled and evaluated. So in 22-23, we had over 25,000 students, unduplicated count, enroll in at least one career technical education course. So that comes out to about 74% of all of our high school students. And we are just looking at high school students when it comes to this data. Those 25,000 students probably took about 38,000 different courses in that 22-23 school year. We also had over 9,600 secondary students were considered CTE concentrators, which means that they have completed at least 2 CTE credits in the same program of study. This is the number that we look at. That's the number that we are evaluated on. Those students are the students that we're evaluated on. And what's significant about those students is theoretically, those are the students that are on a career path that in high school that they are going to pursue once they graduate high school, whether they join the military, whether they join the workforce, whether they go into an apprenticeship program, whether they go off to university or college, they are on a path already. We had about 8,300 post-secondary students enrolled in at least one CTE course. This is just our community and tribal colleges. We don't provide dollars to the universities. So we are looking at just those 10 institutions across the state with 4,700 post-secondary students considered concentrators, meaning that they've finished at least 3 or at least 12 credits in that program or have completed a program. Now, how are these concentrators performing? If high school graduation was the only thing we were concerning ourselves with, CTE works. Our graduation rate for the state of North Dakota is 83%. That's all students across the state. High school graduation rate for our CTE concentrators is almost 98%. So almost 100% of our students that take at least 2 CTE courses are graduating from high school. Our Native American graduation rate, I got to bring that up all the time because that is a huge bragging part for the state of North Dakota. But graduation rate for the same school year was 65%. But if that student was a CTE concentrator, you're looking at almost an 88% graduation rate. 90% of our students that are CTE concentrator in high school have post-program placement, meaning that we have been able to find them either in college, university, in the workforce. They're out there and they're being productive. And 44% have completed some sort of work-based learning experience, which I will talk a lot about work-based learning later in my presentation. So can students access career and technical education in North Dakota? Absolutely. State law requires that every high school must offer at least one CTE program, whether they offer it themselves or if they offer it through a partnership primarily with a CTE center. We currently have 14 area career and technology centers across the state of North Dakota, serving over 130 school districts. Those centers are located in the following cities, and they, like I said, branch out into over 130 school districts. Williston is opening a new facility this fall. Watford City opened one last fall. Dickinson opened one, I believe, in January of 23. Mandan and their surrounding communities is opening one this fall. Minot opened one last fall. Bismarck is expanding on what they have in North Dakota or in Bismarck, the Bismarck community. There's been expansions in Jamestown, Valley City, and Devils Lake. Fargo is expanding their facility. Grand Forks is expanding their facility. Wahpeton, Oaks, and Edgeley, which is all under one organization of the Southeast CTE Center, they have expanded their access. And then Grafton and Cavalier, that part of the state, is expanding their access. So those 14 area career and technology centers are expanding due to a grant that we received from the legislature, or an appropriation we received from the legislature back in 2021. There are capital projects going on across the state, and we're finally starting to see the fruits of our labor because these facilities are opening. And that was mentioned earlier that in Western North Dakota, you have 3 of them that are up and running already. Over 650 secondary CTE educators statewide located at our high schools and our CTE centers. And I need to mention, because this is all about how does industry and education partner. Every program, in order to be an approved program, must have a program advisory committee, including individuals from business and industry. So if you have CTE in your community, you have the opportunity to serve on that advisory committee, not only advise them on what they should be providing, but also helping advocate for the great things that those programs are delivering. Another opportunity, and this is a huge initiative that we are pushing in North Dakota, and it's not just in North Dakota, across the country, many states are pushing this as their big initiative, and that is work-based learning. So according to the federal government, work-based learning is defined as a sustained interaction with industry or community professionals in a real workforce or workplace setting, or a simulated environment at an education institution that can foster in-depth firsthand engagement. We use both definitions. Ideally, we want our students out in the community, working with employers, taking what they learned in their classrooms, in their shops, and their labs, and putting it to practice, finding out what they're doing well, what they aren't doing well, and having that employer serve as a mentor to help them perfect their skills, and then also potentially have a future workforce pipeline for that employer or that industry as well. But we also understand that in certain parts of the community, in certain parts of North Dakota, the economic base, the industry may not be there. So we also have to make sure that students have the opportunity to improve those skills through hands-on real life experiences, even though that experience might be located in the education institution, that high school or that CTE center. So some examples of work-based learning. So cooperative work experience, that is a course that has been on the books in North Dakota for a long time. A lot of students enroll in this course. They're getting high school credit, and they are out in the community working with an employer, and again, completing that work-based learning experience. Supervised agricultural experience. This is something that's not new either. Our agricultural education and FFA programs across the state, students are out in the community, or they're raising their own cattle, or they're running a part of the farm, and they're learning valuable experience on how to be a farmer or a producer, how to be an employee through this SAE. Again, they're earning high school credit. They are perfecting their skills. Internships, I think we all know what an internship is. Apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship, I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute or two. So I'll go into detail there. And then also an employer placement. And what I mean by an employer placement is you may have a student that is in a course, and part of that course is they're actually placed out in the community with an employer. So for example, North Valley Career Tech Ed Center up in Grafton, North Dakota, they have a welding program, and when the students get into that last welding course, a number of times they're placed, instead of going to class every day during that time, they actually go out and work with an employer and work in their shop. So that's an opportunity, and we have that going on across the state of North Dakota. Simulated work-based learning, as I mentioned, typically happens at that education institution, at that school, at that CTE center. And examples are a construction project. There's a lot of building trade programs that they are building houses, sheds, cabins, and they end up selling them to help fund their program. Business plan development. You see a lot of our business and our marketing programs partner with an employer, and they build a business plan for that employer, or a marketing plan for that employer, and it's evaluated by that employer to see if that's something that they want to pursue. Different types of virtual events or a school-based enterprise. If you've ever been into one of our high schools or our CTE centers, you may see a school store ran by students, manned by students. You know, they are running that store. That's a work-based learning experience. You also hear different schools, they have students run an IT help desk. So instead of having an employer or somebody on the payroll to help work on the machines that school has, you have students troubleshooting and fixing those computers. So those types of activities are going on in North Dakota, and they're expanding every day. A part of work-based learning is allowing students under the age of 18 to be on those job sites. Now, I do know that some of these job sites, it's just not going to happen. And I understand that, and I respect that. We have to make sure that the students are safe. We're going to make sure that insurance is covering all those things. But it is possible for students under the age of 18 to be on work sites that may be considered hazardous. So what we have done is we've worked with the North Dakota Office of Apprenticeship, the North Dakota the U.S. Department of Labor, Wage Division. We've worked with the North Dakota Department of Labor. We've worked with Job Service North Dakota, and we have worked with North Dakota Workforce Safety Investments, so WSI. And what we have come to the conclusion that the U.S. Department of Labor allows individuals that are either considered an apprentice or a student learner, which means that they are part of an approved CTE program. They can be out on these work sites as long as safety measures are in place, as long as there's an agreement in place that's signed by the school, the student, and their parents, and that employer. And the agreement just simply says that the student is responsible for this, the school is responsible for this, the employer is responsible for this. What is the student going to learn? How is the student going to be evaluated? And obviously, we got to make sure that we follow all safety guidelines to ensure that that student is safe while they're out there. Again, these things are going on already, have been going on for a long time. A number of our centers actually pay the WSI premium so that the students are protected when they go out on those work sites. So those things are possible. I can share this PowerPoint later. The hazard exemptions WBL PDF, which you see linked on there, actually is a PDF that we have worked on that simplifies the child labor laws so that you can see as an employer how the process works to get a student out into your work site if it's something that you're interested in. What we've discovered as we've pushed on work-based learning is that schools are busy. Yes, I see a hand raised. Are we taking questions now or are we waiting until the end?
Wayde, this is Representative Richter. I just wanted to throw in a little thing that you were just talking about after WSI. The myth that's out there is WSI charges a lot of money for kids under 18, and that's not the case at all. WSI.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna, so everybody knows, WSI's rates are based on the occupation and the safety record. They're not based on age. So if we hear that, well, it's too expensive for a 17-year-old, it's the same for a 17-year-old as it is for a 30-year-old.
Right. Thank you.
Oops, sorry, I just wanted to make that point.
Yep. Thank you, Representative Richter. That you're absolutely correct. So as I was getting to work-based learning, to expand on it, in order to really move this needle and make work-based learning as a norm instead of things that have just happened where great things are already happening. We are in the process, or we have been for the last 2 years, training what we call work-based learning coordinators, and then we are able to license those individuals through a partnership with the Education Standards and Practices Board, which is the teacher licensing board for the state of North Dakota. So what we do is our staff train individuals to become a work-based learning coordinator. It's 2 full-day in-person sessions. It's 3 2-hour virtual training sessions. They complete a work-based learning program toolkit and other assignments. And then there's 2 months of mentorship and implementation support, and then they apply for that endorsement. The reason why we did that is that if work-based learning is something that we want to cherish and value, you have to have somebody at that local school that is their job. Instructors already have a full load teaching their students every single day, plus they're probably the student organization chapter advisor. Counselors are dealing with a number of things, whether it's academic preparation, social emotional learning, and crisis intervention. A lot of times work-based learning gets kicked to the side because it just don't have time. So we have trained and endorsed a number of work-based learning coordinators around the state. And again, thanks to our legislature back in 2023, we received a $1.5 million appropriation where we are now partially funding a work-based learning coordinator. We have granted out 13 different grants in the 23-24 school year. So we have 13 work-based learning coordinators working across the state. And then we've opened that up to expand for 24-25, where we will be providing funding for more work-based learning coordinators. And those are strategically placed around the state, primarily at our CTE centers, serving multiple school districts. And that individual's role is solely connecting students with work-based learning opportunities, working with the instructors to find out who is ready, where should we place this student, and then finding those placements. So this is really exciting, and it's something that we are going to be able to really showcase and brag about at the upcoming legislative session, because this is changing education in North Dakota, and it's really, really exciting. So as an employer, how do you participate? So what you see on the screen is kind of the flow of career exploration or career awareness for students in North Dakota. First of all, the first stage is just awareness. And this is where we typically see our elementary age students learning more about what types of occupations, what kind of industries are going on across the state. We developed a toolkit in partnership with the Department of Public Instruction to give to all counselors, all teachers across the state on age-appropriate career exploration experiences. So at the lowest level is just simply awareness. Next is career exposure. And this is, I'll talk about a platform that we have available to all students in the state of North Dakota to learn more about a connections database where employers, you on this call, can create a profile in the connections database and let educators across the state know, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to host a field trip? Are you willing to participate in a career fair? Are you willing to be a guest speaker in one of these classrooms? What are you willing to do? Career engagement is the next level. This is where we're looking at our upper level high school students. The students have already taken career technical education courses, and now they want to go out on a work-based learning opportunity and work with that employer and perfect their skills. So students can gain that experience and see if they're a good fit. And then finally, career. After graduation, students have a much better sense of direction. Students and employers know each other, leading to employment or maybe even a sponsorship opportunity. So that's the best case scenario. So how do you engage in this? So you may have heard of a platform called Compass. To back up a little bit, North Dakota has an online career exploration platform called Are You Ready ND. We've had it since about 2012. So you're looking at about a dozen years already, and we continually try to improve it. And one of the most recent improvements or additions we've made to it is now we have included Compass by Golden Path Solutions in Are You Ready ND. So Compass is simply an algorithm, a platform where an employer can log in, create a account, develop a profile, and join the connections database. And that's where, as an employer, and you see on the bottom right part of the screen, that's the connections database. So you can select what schools you want to engage with, and you can click in those boxes and say, I'm willing to do career fairs, virtual career fairs, be a guest speaker, do a field trip, do an interview, do job shadows, do work-based learning, whatever you're comfortable as an employer. You can click those boxes, and the administrator who runs the Compass and Are You Ready platform back at that school now knows that you as an employer are ready and willing and able to engage with education at whatever level you choose to pursue. It's fairly simple to engage in this. You can go onto our website, and under work-based learning, you can find that login. Learn more about Golden Path Solutions and the Compass and the Connections database. You can reach out to me directly, and I can help get you connected as well. But this has been in place for about 2 years now, and we've been cautiously pushing this platform to both employers and schools because we wanted to make sure that we didn't have one party get too engaged faster than the other one. If we overpromised to employers and the students weren't there, then the employers would lose interest. And if we overpromised to students and the employers weren't there, the students would lose interest. So we've been cautiously doing presentations, doing training around the state with educators and with employers on how this system works and how you can get engaged, because I think this makes people's lives easier because the system, the platform does the work for you. You just need to go in and provide the information. So this is really exciting that we have this. And then my last slide, as I promised, apprenticeship. So apprenticeship is something that is not new in North Dakota, but what we do see is it's primarily in where you think traditional apprenticeships show up, in carpentry, in electrical, in plumbing, and things like that. Simply, an apprenticeship is a formal on-the-job training program that has 5 components. First of all, the employer is deeply involved. The employer develops and creates this apprenticeship program. There is on-the-job training. So that person is your employee. They are working with you, and there's a scaled pay grade that as that individual learns more skills, they receive pay increases, compensation increases. There is related instruction. So that individual is taking coursework either online, on the weekends, in the evening, or they might front load all the related instruction, and then that individual is just working and doing their on-the-job training. Paid work experience, which I already mentioned. And then when that individual completes that apprenticeship, they receive an award of a nationally recognized industry credential offered by the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship. The reason I bring this up, not only because this is an area where we can definitely step up our game, I believe we are starting to see more non-traditional apprenticeships. So Lake Region State College, for example, has developed nursing apprenticeship programs, wind tower apprenticeship programs. So we're seeing different types of apprenticeship programs. The next evolution for apprenticeship is getting into our high schools and pushing those more on our students so that they understand the value of apprenticeship, they understand how they work. And my next step is to develop pre-apprenticeship, which means it's a program that either prepares that individual, that student, for an apprenticeship program, or better yet, what you are learning in those CTE programs at those high schools and at those CTE centers actually qualifies for dual credit, if you think of it that way, where they get credit for prior learning. So if they learn something in that school, in that CTE program, and they graduate high school and they're admitted into an apprenticeship program, they can accelerate through that apprenticeship program because they've learned some of those skills already in high school. Why learn it twice? Let's get that student on an accelerated path and get them done with their apprenticeship program that much earlier. Barry Dutton is the state director for apprenticeship for the state of North Dakota, works for the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship. So I have Barry's contact information on there so that you can contact him directly or learn more. And then also I have a website. Our partners over at the North Dakota Department of Commerce Workforce Division, they have a website specifically for apprenticeships. So if you go to that website that's listed on the screen, you will be able to learn more about apprenticeship and also be able to contact Barry directly. So with that, that is everything that I have. I'm happy to stand for any questions that you may have. But again, just thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having me today. And I hope this isn't the last time we visit, because we want to continue to connect education and workforce and economic development and the employers of North Dakota. That's how we can really move the needle when it comes to meeting our workforce needs for the state. So I will pause and answer any questions you may have.
Oh, looks like there is a question from C. Bauer. It says, can we have the link to hazardous exemptions? Is that on your slideshow?
Absolutely, it is in my slideshow. So I will make sure that's an active link and not just a text. But if I can share the presentation with you, and you can share it with your with whoever's on the call. Does that work for everybody?
Yes, that sounds good.
If you send that to me, I will go ahead and send it out to all of those that were registered.
Perfect.
Thank you. We did have a question. Hercules, this is Hercules Cummings, by the way.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
As far as a Compass and Golden Path Solutions, who would be on the receiving end for the school? Is it the school counselor or school counselor?
So it's whoever that administrator for Are You Ready ND and Compass is. So it might be assigned to the counselor, it might be assigned to the work-based learning coordinator. It might be multiple people at that school are the individuals. We're trying to train as many people on it so that maybe even it might be the instructors themselves may be the administrator and they're the point of contact. So it varies by school. Ideally, I would like to have it the work-based learning coordinator, but we need to get that to scale and have every student in every school have access to a work-based learning coordinator. But somebody is that administrator.
Okay, and I don't know if you're aware. Do you know if Williston High School is participating in that Golden Path Solution Compass?
Yes, so Haley Janot, I believe, is the current counselor.
Okay.
Haley has been phenomenal during this. She was one of the early adopters, so she is very well versed with Compass and Are You Ready?
Thank you.
Looks like Dave Richter has another hand raised.
Thanks. Wade, do you know if Watford City and Williston, did they get work-based learning coordinators at those two facilities?
So Watford City did, starting last year already. Williston, I believe we approved this past year or this year. They weren't ready to hire somebody last year, but I believe they applied for a grant and we're working on hiring somebody for the Williston area as well. And then just to add to another community in the western part of North Dakota, Dickinson had one starting last year already as well. Not sure if there's any Dickinson folks on the call, but.
All right, do we have any other additional questions? Or comments? Well, with that, I just want to say thank you again. And I forgot to mention earlier, thank you so much to our sponsor for this webinar, virtual seminar, I mean. It is Credence Energy Services. We are so thankful for them and their sponsorship, and we're thankful to this whole opportunity to be able to talk to you, Wayde.
Well, thank you so much again for having me. You know, this is part of my job. I enjoy everything that I do, but this is the part of my job that I really enjoy doing is talking about current technical education, work-based learning, bragging about what's going on and what we're doing. Just the more awareness that's out there, the better off we all are. So just I'm just so excited that I had this chance today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend.
You all as well. Thanks.
Thank you.